Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham has voiced strong opinions regarding the WNBA's recent expansion announcement. The league's aggressive growth strategy has sparked debate among players about team placement and decision-making processes. Cunningham, known for her outspoken nature and physical play style, didn't hold back when discussing the expansion choices.
Her commentary focused heavily on what she perceives as missed opportunities in city selection and the importance of player input and league decisions.
The Fever player expressed concerns about the cities chosen for new franchises, questioning the logic behind certain selections. She highlighted several metropolitan areas that she believes would have been superior choices for
expansion teams. Her remarks centered on Miami as a particularly attractive option, noting the widespread appeal of Florida as a destination.
She also praised Nashville's potential as a host city, describing it as an exceptional location for professional sports. Kansas City received similar endorsement, with Cunningham pointing out the availability of a major downtown arena that remains underutilized.
Kansas City, amazing opportunity. There's a huge arena downtown that no one chooses. And I think that the Women's Soccer League is showing that, like, people draw, and so I'm not so sure what the thought process is there, but at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that you're not expanding our league too fast. So I think that's also another thing, that you don't want teams to totally dominate and have teams that aren't, and so I just think that it's kind of a hard decision with the teams or situations. The discussion touched on lessons from women's soccer, where certain markets have demonstrated strong fan engagement and attendance figures. This comparison suggested that similar success
could be achieved in basketball with proper market selection. Cunningham emphasized the value of consulting players about preferred destinations, arguing that athlete enthusiasm for specific markets could translate into better fan engagement
and attendance. She suggested that player excitement about playing in certain cities could significantly impact the success of new franchises.
So yeah, that's something, and I think that's an important thing, that, like, obviously she's being asked basically about her newfound fame, and if I'm not mistaken, she's gone from like 300, I need to just check, so on Instagram, Sophie Cunningham has gone from...
However, she also acknowledged the delicate balance required in league expansion. The concern about maintaining competitive balance emerged as a key theme, with warnings about avoiding scenarios where some teams dominate while others struggle significantly. The expansion timeline,
as announced by Commissioner Cathy Engelbert during yesterday's media conference, reveals an ambitious growth plan extending through the decade. The schedule includes multiple new franchises
joining in successive years, creating substantial roster expansion opportunities.
But man, I don't know how excited you are to be going to the tour house and seeing NBA excited it is. It's when you just get more more opportunities, and so I get that aspect. But I also think that you want to listen to your players too. Like, where do they want to play? Where are they going to get excited to play and draw? Because I do think that Miami would have been a great one. Like, everyone loves the word. Nashville's an amazing city. Kansas City, amazing opportunity. There's a huge arena downtown that no one chooses. And I think that the announcement detailed specific markets and ownership groups joining the league. Cleveland's return to the WNBA represents a particularly significant development given the city's history as one of the original 8 franchises.
When the league launched, Rock Entertainment Group, led by Dan Gilbert, will oversee Cleveland's new franchise, scheduled to begin play in 2028.
This represents part of a broader investment strategy in Northeast Ohio's sports and entertainment infrastructure. Detroit follows in 2029 under the ownership of Tom and Holly Gores, while Philadelphia rounds out the expansion with a 2030 launch date. Josh Harris, David Blitzer, David Edelman, and Brian Roberts comprise the Philadelphia Ownership Consortium.
She has gone from 300,000 followers to 1 million followers. And just looking for my own personal Instagram, from one person that I followed Sophie Cunningham to 7. And let's take a look at her let's take a look at her TikTok. So she had what, a million, or like a 400,000? She's at 1.5 million TikTok followers.
The Golden State Valkyries initiated this expansion wave. Beginning play this current season, Toronto Tempo and Portland will join in 2026,
creating a rapid succession of new markets entering the league. Commissioner Engelbert framed the expansion as more than simple team addition, describing it as a transformational investment in women's professional sports. The initiative promises increased roster opportunities, enhanced visibility, and significant economic impact across the selected metropolitan areas. The timing of this expansion coincides with unprecedented growth in women's
basketball popularity and viewership. Recent seasons have demonstrated remarkable fan engagement and media attention, creating favorable conditions for league growth. Soccer league is showing that, like, people draw, and so, I'm not so sure what the thought process is there. But at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that you're not expanding our league too fast. I figure that's also another thing, that you don't want teams to totally dominate how teams that are. And so I just think that it's kind of a hard decision between these situations. But man, I don't know how exactly you are to be going to the Patrol House in Cincinnati.
So that was
Sophie Cleveland's selection carries particular historical significance, as the city previously hosted a WNBA franchise during the league's early years.
The return represents both a nod to that legacy and an investment in future growth potential. The ownership groups bring substantial financial resources and sports management experience to their respective markets. Their involvement signals serious commitment to establishing successful, sustainable franchises in each location. Ohio gains its first women's professional
sports team through Cleveland's franchise, representing a milestone for the state's sports landscape. This development addresses a significant gap in professional women's athletics representation across Ohio.
She has 1.5 million TikTok followers now, which is kind of crazy considering. So she's gained, between Instagram and TikTok, I'm not joking, she gained, was it 1.2 million and 700K? So nearly 2 million followers, albeit there's an overlap, but between on the social media, she had about 2 million followers. Gazadash.
I know the expansion timeline allows for measured growth while maintaining league stability and competitive balance. Spacing the additions across multiple years provides
time for infrastructure development and market preparation in each new city. Corporate partnerships and municipal support play crucial roles in successful franchise launches. Each selected market demonstrated strong backing from local government and business communities during the application process. The announcement ceremony featured former WNBA legends, highlighting
the connection between the league's history and its ambitious future plans. Their presence emphasized continuity amid substantial organizational growth.
Television and streaming opportunities continue expanding alongside franchise growth, creating additional revenue streams and fan engagement platforms. Enhanced media coverage supports both existing and incoming markets. Player development and recruitment benefit from expanded roster opportunities across additional teams. More professional positions create pathways for college graduates and
international players seeking WNBA careers. The league's momentum reflects broader trends in women's professional sports, where increased investment
and fan interest create favorable expansion conditions. Basketball leads this movement with measurable success metrics.
To that point, I was close to her in total social media followers. Man, like if you count YouTube subscribers, Twitter followers and everything, like, and Twitch followers, I was close to her before this. I was close to her, and now she's one of the more popular players in the league. Like, she was like 15th in All-Star voting or something. But now she's focused on her game, forget what happened. Yep. One of the most famous players in the league. She's strategic, but like this is the perfect way to answer that question, because the end of the
training facilities, front office operations, and community outreach programs require establishment in each new market. The multi-year timeline
allows adequate preparation for these essential organizational elements. Season scheduling becomes increasingly complex, with additional franchises requiring careful coordination to maintain competitive balance and travel efficiency. League operations must adapt to accommodate the expanded format. Fan-based development in new markets relies on
effective marketing, community engagement, and competitive team performance. Successful launches depend on creating immediate connections with local supporters. 28, Detroit in 2029, and Philadelphia in 2030. So this expansion marks far more than an increase in teams. It's a transformational investment in the future of women's sports. With more teams, more roster spots, and more scale and visibility, the WNBA is building on a wave of momentum that is only growing stronger. So this will also drive economic impact in these cities and their broad. The expansion represents the most aggressive growth period in WNBA history, fundamentally altering the league's structure and competitive landscape. This transformation
positions women's professional basketball for sustained long-term success. Sophie Cunningham recently addressed questions regarding her sudden rise to prominence and how it might influence her basketball performance. During a recent
interview, the WNBA player discussed her unexpected surge in popularity while maintaining focus on her primary responsibilities as an athlete. Hey, look,
I always say this with players, it's about keeping the main thing the main thing.
It's about keeping the main thing the main thing, and it's like, you don't want to see players kind of drop because of other things. Like, if you guys are seeing how Flaw J's been playing right now in America, and she's been terrible. Like, there's no two ways about it, unless she stepped up today against Puerto Rico. The discussion centered around Cunningham's viral moment and subsequent endorsement activities, which likely required minimal time investment but generated significant attention.
This scenario reflects a common challenge in professional sports where athletes face scrutiny for any non-basketball activities, particularly when their on-court performance falls short of expectations. The Paul George podcast controversy serves as a prime example where fans criticized
the player's media ventures while his game suffered. Cunningham's response demonstrated remarkable maturity and self-awareness. She acknowledged that those familiar with her personality weren't surprised by her actions, emphasizing that her behavior remained consistent with her character.
The athlete admitted she never anticipated the massive attention her actions would generate, stating her complete surprise at the viral nature of the incident.
Her regions. And none of this happens without incredibly strong partnership. So I want to extend an enormous amount of gratitude to our new majority owners and ownership groups, Dan Gilbert and the Rock Entertainment Group in Cleveland, Tom and Holly Gores and the rest of the ownership group in Detroit, and Josh Harris, David Blitzer, David Edelman, and Brian Roberts in Philadelphia. And it's great to see Deanna, Rusha, and Janice here today. Thank you, sir. Most importantly, Cunningham redirected the conversation toward
basketball, expressing genuine frustration with her current performance level. She openly discussed her dissatisfaction with her play and emphasized her determination to improve her shooting while recovering from previous injuries. The player stressed that her primary focus remains basketball excellence, viewing everything else as secondary. Cunningham also highlighted the positive message her actions sent to young athletes about supporting
teammates and standing up for friends, but quickly returned to discussing her need to elevate her scoring output and overall contribution to the team. Which was a closer game. I didn't watch that game, and oh my god, like, were they down at halftime? It was a ball game at halftime of Flaw J. Like, Flaw J is now, other than Audie Crooks, second last off the bench. She's meant to be like when these top picks. She's one of the last players off the bench for this Team USA team. Hannah Stokey's playing over. Stokey's playing over right now. The impact of this viral moment on Cunningham's social media presence has been extraordinary. Her Instagram following skyrocketed from approximately 300,000
to over 1 million followers, while her TikTok audience grew from around 400,000 to 1.5 million followers. Combined, she gained nearly 2 million new followers across platforms, transforming her into one of the league's most recognizable players and
earning her significant all-star voting recognition. This meteoric rise in fame parallels broader discussions about athlete priorities and performance expectations.
The sports world often witnesses similar situations where players struggle to balance newfound attention with their athletic responsibilities. Current examples include players on Team USA who have faced criticism for their performance while maintaining active social media presence.
Specifically, some prominent young players have experienced significant struggles during international competition, with certain athletes now relegated to bench roles
despite their high draft positions and expectations. These players, averaging minimal scoring output but face criticism when their off-court social media activities receive more attention than their disappointing on-court contributions. The conversation around women's basketball often avoids addressing performance issues
directly, with critics frequently dismissed rather than engaged in substantive discussion about player development and expectations. This dynamic creates challenges
for honest evaluation of player performance and team needs.
I know they're not necessarily the same position. Joyce Edwards obviously is playing over Eric Grace, Van Sluten, Hidalgo, Michaela Blakes, all these players playing over Jana Neepkins, all playing over it, whereas Flaujae is really struggling, and you're like, she's averaging 2.7 a game. Like, okay, maybe focus on keeping the main thing. Like, her and Audie Crooks, two worst players on this team so far, outside of games, you know, posting duets on social media, and you're like, there's no issue with that.
There's no issue with doing that. Cunningham's situation requires careful consideration of her basketball fundamentals. Throughout her career, she has maintained impressive three-point shooting percentages,
typically around 40%, but currently experiences career low scoring averages and reduced shooting efficiency. While never considered an elite defender, she provides adequate coverage across multiple positions and contributes decent rebounding for her size. Her primary value lies in floor spacing and reliable outside shooting, but recent struggles with open corner three-pointers threaten this role.